Have you ever wondered what exactly makes a baked good grow? There are three different and main types of leavening agents that we have in baked goods. These would be chemical, biological, and physical leavening agents. First off, we have chemical leavening agents. We have baking soda and baking powder, which I bet most of you guys know and have heard of. Baking soda is actually just an alkaline powder that needs acid to create carbon dioxide and make the baked good grow. You can add vinegar or buttermilk to create carbon dioxide and activate the baking soda. The baking soda is almost always used for soft doughs like buttermilk pancakes or buttermilk biscuits. Next, we have the baking powder. Baking powder is also an alkaline powder. It is actually just baking soda with an acid already included in the powder. So to activate the baking powder, you only need any type of liquid like water. And baking powder is commonly used in heavier doughs like cakes or muffins. That would be it for chemical leavening agents. Next, we have biological leavening agents, which are mostly commonly used for breads, for croissants, French bread, sourdough bread. The first type of yeast that we have in biological leavening agents would be the active dry yeast, which is very commonly used and mostly used in breads. The active dry yeast, you have to dissolve the yeast in water and then let it rise for 10 to 15 minutes before you add it to the rest of the ingredients to create the dough, and then it goes to the first proof. Next, we have the instant dry yeast. It is exactly the same as the active dry yeast. The only difference is that it comes in smaller granules. So because it comes in smaller granules, you do not need to dissolve it in water. You can just add it to the rest of the ingredients and create the dough, and then the dough would go to the first proof. Next, we have the fresh yeast. Fresh yeast is literally just active dry or instant yeast already dissolved in water and compressed. So it has a percentage of water added. And it comes in cubes, and the only thing that you need to do to create bread is just crumble it up and then add it to the rest of your ingredients and to create the dough and go to the first proof. Next, we have sourdough. Sourdough is incredibly fun. It is actually a wild yeast. It is a mixture of water and flour, and it rises and it grows with the wild yeast and flour and in the air. So there's no yeast included. The yeast comes from the air and the flour. And this type of yeast is alive because of the wild yeast. So you need to feed it 2 times a day. You need to feed it with a certain percentage and ratio of water and flour. There's different type of sourdough with different types of flour and different thickness. We have thin and thick sourdough starter, and we also have the white starter and the rice starter. Rice starter would be created with rye flour. It is extremely interesting and I just love it. Next, that would be it for biological leavening agents. Next, we have the physical leavening agents, which can be combined and are mostly always combined with any type of leavening agent, physical and chemical. First off, we have air. Air is usually combined in the mixing process of the baked good. For example, in cookies, you incorporate air when you mix the butter and the sugar before you add the eggs. So you whip the butter and the sugar and you make it fluffy and white. And in this process, you're actually adding air, which will actually help the chemical leavening agent in the cookie spread. Next, we have just whipped egg whites. For example, this is used in chiffon or angel food cake. And you whip the egg whites with sugar and it grows, and it actually helps grow in the oven too. Next, we have flour. When you sift flour, it is a very important step when you sift the flour because you add air particles in between the flour particle, which actually makes your product a lot fluffier. Next, we have steam in physical leavening. Steam is most commonly happens in the oven. When you put a wet dough into the oven, the water evaporates, which creates small pockets in between the baked good, which makes it grow. And you can see this in the crumb shot here of the bread. Those small pockets were actually water and air that tried to escape. That would be it for physical leavening agents. So I taught you guys about 3 different and main types of leavening agents in baked good. That would be chemical, biological, and physical leavening agents. I hope you guys I hope you guys learned something from this video, and thank you so much for watching it.